When I was a wee little squirt blossom, I moved from Bangladesh, the curry capital of the world, to America, the Big Mac capital of the world. I don't remember much from that plane ride over because I was afraid. I was afraid because when you're little, the world is much bigger than you are, but smaller than your imagination. I do remember, however, that there was a lot of turbulence on that plane, and I regurgitated the contents of my Bangladeshi culture onto my mother's unfortunate lap. To this day, sweet rice cakes and spicy lamb curry still don't settle well in my stomach. From a young age, my parents drilled into my head two very important ideas. One, you're going to be a doctor, no exceptions. And two, always stay close to your roots. And for that reason, I grew up believing that I was a plant. It was a very awkward childhood. I would go outside into a park and see all my brethren. And staying close to my roots was the very reason why my family and I revisited Bangladesh for the first time when I was 12 years old. I didn't know much about the country, except that it flooded a lot and it was very poor. But despite this, my mother used to tell me of her awesome childhood in Bangladesh. For instance, she would, after school, hide low in the rice paddies, just, camouflage herself. And as unsuspecting farmers and fishermen were to walk by, she'd just jump up and scare the curry out of them. No, literally, these farmers dropped the curry that they were carrying. And I wanted to experience this awesome Jungle Book adventure. I wanted to, hang out with dancing bears and make this a trip that would be memorable. And it definitely was. It definitely was. So after I got off that plane to Bangladesh, I was greeted by smoggy Bangladeshi air. It constricted my lungs like an anaconda, making it so difficult to breathe. The only greenery I could see for miles out was the greens of plastic bottles littered everywhere. But that wasn't the worst of it, ladies and gentlemen. The worst part was the people. So many, too many, poor, struggling, begging people. Many of whom were the sick and elderly. How could I look them in the eyes when I knew that they were going to eventually die of common illnesses like the fever or the flu? But many, many more of these homeless people were children, not much older than you and me. They were everywhere. And it got me thinking, if home is where the heart is, do the homeless feel love? I felt an emptiness, not in my stomach like the millions of starving people, but in my soul. Days passed and I visited a small park near the center of the capital city of Dhaka, one of the few public green spaces in the area. But even that place was not bereft of the constant reminder of poverty. There was only one rickety playground in the whole park, and there was a polluted stream that went by. But one corner of the park in particular caught my eye. It was a group of homeless boys selling flowers they had picked up from the exact same park to get something to eat. The Bangladeshis called them the Tokai, the invisible boys of Bangladesh. I watched for several minutes as people just ignored them, walked past them, or more often than not, right through them. And it made me feel so bad, so I went up to these boys and brought flowers from them. And at this point in my life, I thought I was helping them, but in reality, they were helping me. See, they were poor, and they didn't know what school was. They were smelly, and they had flies buzzing all around their ears. And yes, they were sad. They were terribly sad, but they were positive. Even though chance and circumstance took away their lives, their liberties, and their pursuits of happiness, there were two things that could not be taken away from them. One, the Tokai had memories of each other. And memories may be vague. When I try to recall my fondest memories, it's like I'm trying to strangle air with my bare hands. Memories are like the road maps which guide us through the can'ts and the won'ts in life until we cross that finish line of we made it. Wherever that is, I don't know. But I do know that memories are a commodity in undersupply in a market ready to plunge deeper and deeper into depression, the human depression. The Tokai had a unity that could not be broken. While they were not brothers by birth, they were brothers by circumstance. 2, the Tokai had hope for a better Bangladesh. While they did not speak, while I did not understand the language they spoke, it was a language foreign to me. The language of hope can even be heard by the deaf who roam the streets of "Are we there yet?" or "Who am I?" All you had to do was look into their eyes. Their eyes burned with a fire of change. They had so many awesome ideas and creative solutions to Bangladesh's plethora of problems. But no one would give them the time of day. Poverty silenced their voices. Poverty is a perpetual cycle that goes on and on, like that radio song you never wanted to hear, but always do. And it's quite simple, actually. It's quite simple. How can young people who want to make a difference, who want to do something in their lives, pursue their passions and make that difference that they want to do if they are focused on survival? To alleviate poverty and many of the world's problems is to give young people like me, like you, like poor children, like rich children, like the Tokai, an equal and heard voice. To give them an equal and heard voice. So I stand in front of all you TEDsters today because you all have the resources in front of you to leave that positive impact on your communities, on society. And you guys are so lucky, so fortunate, because the majority of the world's children, especially in third world countries, do not have this opportunity. It all comes down to you finding your passion and what you believe in. Now, passion is important because it helps make those memories. It helps harness that hope. And you don't have to look very far to find your passion, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to climb the Himalayas. But you do have to climb the tallest mountain of all, the mountain within you. To find your passion, you have to find out who you are really as an individual. And you have to focus on what you like to do. Not what others like to do, but what you like to do. What makes you different. So I'll leave you all with this. Don't settle for good enough when you're so much better than good. All of you. If there's something you don't know how to do, please learn it. If there's something you fear, don't let that hold you back. Overcome that fear and grow as a person. And if there's something you see wrong in this world, go out and fix it. Never ask for permission to do that. Ever. Ever. And so, keep doing what you like to do. The world will never have an individual like you, ever. There's never been someone like you in the past, in history, since the dawn of time, and there will never be anyone like you for history to come. That's how important you are as an individual. Never let that potential go to waste, because you are doing the world an injustice. It all comes back to finding out who you are, climbing that mountain of passion within you, and just letting go.